Hustlers, creators, conversationalists. You are now listening to the Girlfriends Podcast.
Hello.
All
right, so we're back. Girlfriends Podcast. And today
Hello.
we have an amazing guest, my sister, J Rab.
Yes.
Hello, Shalane.
She said she's learning Yoruba.
Slowly but surely.
I don't know. I think that meant hello.
No, what's up? What's happening?
Oh,
I love it.
what's up? Kilo Shalane.
Kilo Shalane.
Kilo Shalane.
Hello, Chalet.
We'll work on it later.
So today we are going to discuss colorism, but we're going to discuss it in a different way today, or on a different dimension, a different category, however you want to say it, however we want to say it, how do we want to say it. We're talking about motherfucking colorism, okay?
Yeah, we are talking about colorism.
And we're just going to have a natural conversation. We're just going to talk about how it has ultimately affected us as women of color. And we also have my beautiful sister here because we are all African American, but due to a slightly different shade. She's not light-skinned, but what would you categorize yourself as?
Man, I hate that we even have to
categorize
ourselves in the first place.
Okay,
but
yeah.
So
I
that's
think
something to think about.
you're like brown, what they would call brown
Pecan
skin.
butter?
We're all brown.
You're light skin, brown skin.
I thought it was brown.
But we all brown.
Right.
Like that's the gag.
So that's the comment that we can start there. The fact that we feel naturally to categorize ourselves, and we have done this for some time. What do you think about that?
I think you have to realize why.
Yeah.
Like
True.
why
And
do
where
we
it
feel
stems
the
from.
need to categorize ourselves? Or I'm light skin, or I'm red bone, or I'm, chocolate, or whatever the case may be. Like, I do think we have a constant need to like show differences, to be unique. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
Right.
some melanin be popping more than others because it's darker, like, or I don't know why we feel like we have to do it, but we do it, and I think we're influenced by our environments for that.
Yeah.
It's something we learn. I don't think it's just like natural.
For sure.
I was gonna say, well, I feel like a piece of it could be the whole root of it, but I think it's learned all the way back to slavery, as far as,
For sure.
the one that was the house nigga being the one that was a lighter complexion, being treated differently, which differently is in a better way, or a great way, because, well, just better, not a great way, but better than those that were in the
I'll
field.
go with that.
Those that were in the field. So I think it naturally stems from that. What do you guys?
I was gonna say I feel like colorism is the root of, it's also at the root of slavery. Well, I won't say it's at the root, but it derives from slavery. It derives from Jim Crow. And in terms of slavery, like you said, the whole house nigga thing, house slaves were treated better, usually because, they were the offspring of the plantation owner. A lot of times,
Right.
the plantation owner would rape these slaves and then have children, but obviously they're not going to treat them as their children, but instead they would bring them in the house to do like housework. So I think that started there, just kind of creating that divide between the two. If you're lighter, you're in the house. If you're darker, you're in the field doing the harder labor. And then when we get into Jim Crow, there were literally spaces that would not let Black people enter if they weren't a certain shade. They had the brown paper bag thing. If
Right.
you weren't
Which
lighter
is crazy to
than
me.
a brown paper bag as a Black person, you were not afforded opportunities, whether it be going to school, whether it be entering an establishment. And I think that's why people are so big on categorizing it. And furthermore, I feel like because people can benefit based on their shade, that's why it keeps going. I do believe there is something such as light skin privilege. And I also think there's dark skin privilege, but I feel like we can expand on that a little later.
Yeah, and you mentioned something earlier about how normally those that are of lighter shade have been those that have been produced by the slave owner. But I do want to say there are a lot of, well, the other side of that is that, as Black people, we have a variety, or we create a lot of phenotypes. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be because of the slave master,
Oh no, I was just talking about slavery. I'm aware now that, I could very well procreate with another Black person, have a light-skinned child, but...
I have a random question.
Go ahead.
Do you guys believe in the one drop rule?
Tell me what the fuck that is.
So the one drop rule is if you got one drop of black and you consider black, no matter how light you look.
You know what? We low-key touched on that in the two episodes before. Somewhat, we were talking about Miss America and how pretty much like if you're mixed, like is that kind of the same thing or not even really? Like you're saying like hell, you can been through generations of different races.
If your great-great-great-granddaddy was black, are you still considered black despite the fact that everybody else has now become, in your family is white?
I mean, I don't believe in it because hell, we probably our great-great-damn granddaddy might be white.
It's true.
Possible.
And I'm black. So
possible. I think though with like I think you should give people what they identify with.
Mm-hmm. As you mean respecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're not out here doing too much now, don't get out here doing too much. But I think when you have things like Miss America and stuff like that, and you see these lighter skinned ladies, and they are perpetuated as beautiful. I don't think it's meant to be that type of situation, but I want to see like a chocolate chocolate woman up there representing it. And they got diversity, but black people are so diverse. Like the color span is so diverse, and I feel like we've got to normalize it. Right. And I think it should start in our households.
I agree.
Amen.
Me and Taylor were talking the other day just about growing up, and we grew up in the same family, and so black ass was like something that everybody was a black ass. Mm-hmm. Unless you were like really super, super, super light skinned like my mama, and then you was red ass. But like she was black ass, I was black ass, and we were different colors. And she was just explaining to me it hit different for her versus not so much for me.
You like, I know I'm black, but for her, she's like, oh, they're talking about my complexion. Like,
right. That never occurred to me that she felt that way because we both got that same treatment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But nobody was being conscious of insecurities that she may have had, and she was just a kid.
Yeah.
And I think like families really don't realize that because we have a lot of cousins, but more of our like I guess closer family. Like I have another cousin that's really dark, and when they would come down, they would say like her old black ass. Like they would make sure they put emphasis on her being darker skinned, or unfortunately, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. So I just don't think that's cool. It's not cool at all, especially when you're already insecure about it. I mean, I know because me and Aya talked about this too. Like Aya said she never really looked at any differently in herself from being darker. And I thought, well, maybe because her family members, like your family members, weren't like as really light skinned. But you explained to me like you have a diverse family, like some are lighter.
Yeah, but
what's your immediate family? Like mom, dad?
My mom is lighter. She's maybe like your complexion. My dad was darker than me. My grandma's my mom's complexion. My grandpa, I didn't meet him, but apparently he was probably a little fairer in complexion. I don't know. I mean, we're really just different colors. Like there are people who are my shade, there are people who are your shade, and they never really talked about complexion. Like we're all black, like we're all Liberian. That's just what it was. And it wasn't until I got to school that I realized, oh, people really differentiate us. Like, oh no, you a dark, you pretty for a dark skin. I'm like, I'm black, but
people aren't still saying that, are they?
Yes, they are.
I've still
really. I really
in 2019.
Yes, they are.
Yes,
I really want to order a T-shirt. Like they're making so many shirts that says, like
I'm mixed with black.
Yeah, I'm mixed with black and more black, like an X.
Yeah.
It's just not cool. It's either you're beautiful for a dark skinned girl or are you mixed? No, it's just my wig today, honey.
And I want to expand on that too.
My wig today.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to expand on you saying, asking like, are you mixed or just saying you're pretty for a dark girl or whatever. Me and Taylor talked about how we feel like, at certain points in our lives, we almost felt like, well, maybe we're the exception when we were told things like you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl, because they make it seem like dark girls are unattractive. So when you hear you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl, it's like, oh, well then I'm really attractive in spite of me being a darker person. And I feel like that also translates into light skin privilege too, because I think a lot of people who are lighter and who reap the benefits of having fairer skin tend to ignore the issues surrounding colorism because they benefit from it. And I can say, as a dark person who would be asked if I was mixed with something, or who would be told that I am pretty for a dark person, instead of me addressing the issue of why you feel like dark women aren't attractive in the first place, I would just take it as a compliment. And as an adult now, I realize that that's wrong. I was even in a relationship with somebody who told me I was the exception. They only dated light-skinned women, mixed women, or Hispanic women, but I was like the first pretty dark person that they got involved with, and
they were black.
And they were black.
And
they were my complexion.
And that's where it goes back to my sister, because her saying, like Jessica saying that it starts in the home. I really feel like, or within the family, like it has a lot to me. Well, for him,
I don't understand how it gets out the home. That's my problem. I don't understand how it gets out of the home. Like, how are we not teaching our children to appreciate who they are?
Because
you flip it back around and they grow up and they become these black men that only want to date these like these mixtured women, these exotic women, and it's crazy because you came from a black woman. Like, your mom is dark. Like, what are you doing?
But our race has started it. Like, there are black women that tell me I'm pretty for a black girl, and I've heard that. So there
are even dark women who lift up lighter women as if they are better than them. I think it's not just one group of people's issue. Like, everyone is a reason.
It's a Kool-Aid.
Why
everybody's
it's
drinking it.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
yeah.
Darker women are drinking the same Kool-Aid than light-skinned women are drinking to make them think they're better than a dark-skinned person.
Right.
And after a while,
it's crazy.
Oh,
girl, that's why people bleaching their skin out here.
Oh gosh. Before you talk about that, I had brought this up to one of my other friends who's darker, and I was telling her, like, introducing her to what we kind of want to talk about, and about like being dark skinned was an exception, and she was saying like it is though. Like, and I was like, wait, babe, let me really explain to you. She was like, no, like when I was in high school, people would tell her that to be dark, you know, she felt like it was a compliment. So I was explaining to her, like, yes, you are beautiful and dark, but when people make it seem as if, you know, it's an exception, or that like
you can't be beautiful.
You can't be beautiful just to be a beautiful. Yeah, like that's a problem. And so as
it's a surprise. Oh wow, you're so dark, but you're beautiful.
Right, I didn't expect you to be pretty. You're dark. Like what?
Right.
That's
and so
crazy.
When I broke it down to her, she was like, "Dang, like I feel stupid." Like, you know, and I understand. Like, I looked up the like dark versus light, and I understand like the association with dark. Period. Like just the color, it has a negative connotation behind it, and I get that. But that just sucks when it comes to skin color, that it's still associated, like it's associated with skin color. So, did that make sense?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just feel like I think just as much as dark can be looked at in a negative light, dark is also praised in many ways. It's looked at as classic, as clean, as, you know. So
it depends on who's looking.
There we go. And I think that's really what it is. It really depends on who's looking. And given we live in a racist ass country, of course there's going to be more weight on, you know, the negatives when it comes to being darker. And I think it's not just a US issue, it's a worldwide issue. Colorism isn't just a US thing. In India, like, women are also bleaching their skin. In Nigeria, women are also bleaching their skin. In the Caribbean, men and women are still bleaching their skin because
everybody's drinking damn Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And I really want to know what dark. I said this before. I really want to know what dark people did to be so hated and looked down on.
So I don't understand. Like, I'm being blatantly honest. I'm not the lightest of skin, but I'm not the darkest of skin, and I didn't get it a lot of times growing up. I will not lie.
Yeah.
Growing up, I said I will only date light skinned men.
My
baby's gonna have good hair.
Okay.
Like, and I'm grown now, and it's just so stupid.
Yes.
But the thing, I think it goes back deeper. We started on slavery. Mm-hmm. You have a phenotype of people who exert superiority over people who look different than them.
Yeah.
in my particular situation in America. You know, white people, I perceive, and not all, but I perceive it to be where because of the color of your skin, you think that you're better than me.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be somebody.
This is true.
So then if I have to make you feel bad about your skin, so I can feel like they feel about me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we pass it down. I know I don't identify with these two ladies, but I try to equate it to being heavy. And this is a conversation I have with Taylor. I grew up heavy. So it was, when you look back in history, right? Kings and queens that were fat were rich.
Yes.
It was beautiful to be big because you had, right?
Yep.
As culture and time changed, it wasn't cute no more. Okay, but you wanted the money and the status that being heavy put forth, but you didn't want to be heavy. And so I try to equate that, because I get, oh, well, you're so cute to be a big girl, or you're cute to be big bone. Well, actually, I'm not a girl no more, but you get my point. And it's just like, I try and correlate that with the dark skin, light skin thing to kind of see how people really feel.
Yeah.
Because people bleach their skin to get lighter because of how they're made to feel. People get surgery to be smaller because of how they're made to feel. And so I try and equate that so I can really sympathize and empathize with what's going on. And it just changes this is my sister, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, and how dare you say she's beautiful to be a dark girl? Yeah. That's just crazy to me. Like, I'm beautiful or not.
Right. I love that take. I never really put it in that, I never really put those two together, like how they treat being bigger alongside how they treat being darker. That's real.
And the same thing, not to cut you off, but you have especially, and let's be honest, because when I look on my timeline, it's a lot of white women or racially ambiguous women who are posting these dark, chocolate, just Adonis from God men. In the same way that women are going to get butt injections, and like, you want the aspect of the thickness, but you don't want to be fat. They want to take the look, they want to engulf it, they want to be a part of it, but they don't want everybody to be like that.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable for everybody. Just that chocolate Adonis over there, but like, you can't be a dark-skinned female and think you're gonna come into this club and run this. Like, no, you're not gonna do that because we're light-skinned and we're cute. Like, it's aggravating.
And this may be a little off, and I'm gonna bring it back, but just you like touching on that, and I feel as if, like, I'm not trying to pick on the white race, but it's interesting how I feel as though it's been created by the white race, and now it's like they are trying to be us, as in they're getting their skin, what is it called when they're doing the tanning, or not necessarily tanning, brown face, what is it, blackface, or Kylie Jenner, or that they're getting this, I guess it is a tan. So pretty much you want to look almost like you're pretty much black, because pretty much Kylie looks like she's
with your
black, but you don't want to go through the struggles that we really have to go through.
Why would you want to? I'll say this.
Right.
I'll say this. I won't even say, because someone made the comment and it kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, but at the same time I understood what they were saying. They were like, Black people, y'all gotta understand, white people don't want to be black. White people want to be mixed. They want to have black in them. So they tan to make themselves look racially ambiguous, but they don't really want to be black because they don't want black problems. They want to be, they want to kind of still be able to ride that line of white passing and black passing like you don't really know. So they can reap the benefits of both sides. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
You remember that video you showed me, and then Jessica told me about it, like when the black guy had a baby by a woman that either she was mixed or she was white. Her mother was white, she was mixed. And how they were talking about when the baby came out, like how his eyes were a certain color and all that, and how the the girl's mother was responding to it. Like,
well, oh yeah, she kind of it was disgusting to watch, and she isn't remorseful. So I really don't
did you
feel
hear
her
the
about how
apology,
she
child?
That trash ass apology. I don't know her name.
Have you been asked if have you been told that your eyes are beautiful? Have you been told that your eyes are beautiful?
Right.
Because mine are green, and I get told that my eyes are pretty all the time.
Yeah,
I was just like, girl, sit all the way down.
Yeah,
well, unfortunately, her statement is true. Okay,
she
been
been
give
hiding
the
that
backstory. Because some people probably don't know about this one, but she is a biracial girl with like green eyes or whatever, and she has a black ass boyfriend.
Oh, Jesus.
And I just want y'all to know he's a black man. Y'all see how these women praise dark men, but they do not want to have dark babies. So they have their baby, and the first thing she starts complaining about is the fact that the baby does not have green eyes. The baby has brown eyes, you know, the dominant gene. She has brown eyes, and they were looking at her ears and fingertips and saw that she would be darker. And she was like disgusted by it. The dad was like kind of happy, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have somebody that's my complexion. She was like, no, she's not gonna be. Like, what's wrong with your child being darker? The fuck?
That's the child's whole daddy.
Right.
Like he was beautiful. He was handsome enough for you to lay up with him.
Right.
But you don't like.
Girl, but you want to preserve your lightness, and I think that's the issue. Like, that is the issue, and she refuses to acknowledge it, and that's why I'm so disgusted with her too. Like, and she's like, she looked up the definition of colorism, and what she did was not colorism. Honey, you need to dig deeper.
You know, I'm disgusted with I'm disgusted with him. Let's bring him in.
Because
I'm disgusted with him. Here's my problem. Yes. You are a black man. You out here in these streets giving birth to black babies. You can't choose to procreate with someone who really appreciates your blackness.
Right. Oof.
You run after these racially ambiguous women. You put them on pedestals. You praise them. Black women, bitches, sluts, whatever. But you get locked up. Who put money on the books?
Okay.
You going through. Who do you run to?
Who
Your
going
mama
rallies?
is a black woman.
Clearly.
Perfect example. And then I'm gonna let it go. Was that last week or the week before? And I was talking to you about this, about Boosie going to get on this airline, and they would not let him and his kids on the airline. Boosie already got a reckless mouth, little Boosie. Yeah. So he goes off on one of the social medias, whatever, and he's calling the black man, you know, a homophobic slur, the F. But then all of a sudden he goes, and this black B working behind the desk, you know, she don't want to help her brother out, and he just go, he's in the airport, child, in the airport. He goes off on her, a woman who, this is how I envision it. I don't know her, but like, I'm here, I'm behind this counter, I'm watching this Negro act a hot ass. I've got whatever I've got at home, and I got bills to pay. Yeah. I'm not here acting behind, you are, and they're not letting you on a plane. But he went in on her. She was all sorts of black bitches and this, that, and the third. But she Boosie complexion. Boosie, you have children that, why I'm talking like he gonna see this?
He might.
You have children that are this girl's complexion, and you drug this girl for filth, but just simply off the color of her skin.
Yeah.
But this is what I thought was funny. You going through, right? You are being treated unfairly, and he was saying that they were, I think it was American Airlines, but don't quote me.
They stay on.
But they were racist, and they were being colorist, and this, that, and the third. Girl.
Sir.
But you doing the same thing, right? But who are you running to? Who are you asking to step up on your behalf, grown man? A woman, a black woman behind a counter, because you know inherently inside of you, the black women will always have you when them other ones do not. But yet we are not appreciated. It's I cannot stand to hear a man big up another race of women. If that's your preference, you like a redhead, do you? But do not talk down on who I am and your people are and your mother is and your grandmother and so on and so forth. Because when you spit out a baby, that baby is going to be just that.
A reflection of all those.
Don't forget that. That's why it needs to start at home, because this is what we raising. It's procreating.
It totally is. And I think it's a problem even down to the babies. I was at a school, I'm substituting, and this little boy, me and the teacher, we both had the same last name, but she's way lighter than me and she has gray eyes. And she had to step out the room, but they were like, where's Miss So-and-so? Where's Miss So-and-so? So they was like, she right there, because we both had the same last name. They was like, no, not. They was like, no, she black. I mean, the other one. I'm like, well, baby, we're both black. My little feelings was hurt. But I know he's a child, and so my mind, I just try to think, well, they're still learning colors, or he was in, it doesn't matter what grade, but they're still learning colors, and maybe he just associates, like, okay, well, she's darker, so she's black.
And
but I feel as though I may be wrong. That could be it, or it could not be, because I also seen in the school system with me being a sub, like the girls that they choose to flirt with, because there was a little girl in the class who was flirting with. It was none of the black little girls. It was this Hispanic little girl. They go after the ones with the long loose hair, and I get as children you want to play with hair and stuff, but I don't know.
I don't think that has anything
When
to
is
do
the
with
last
it.
time though you've been watching a video and you saw a 4C?
Thank you. I'm so happy you said
dark
that.
skinned girl?
And so what do the kids really have to look for as an example if we continue? And it shows as a kid, that's what they think, and they grow up and continue to.
Well, see, and that's
show
why the whole idea of starting in the household, I think that's super important. But I think we also can't control what they see in the outside world. So you can lift up a black child and tell them that black is beautiful, and there's nothing wrong with embracing your blackness, but then they go out and they watch TV and they see music videos and they see movies and they see TV shows that uplift lighter skinned people or white people or non-black people, and everything that you may have taught them in the household can go in the trash, because like, yeah, my mom and dad are telling me I'm beautiful, but I go outside and they tell me, no, the fuck you not.
Right. Or even
you are not worthy.
When you were talking about that, even down to our, is there hairism? Okay, even to 3C. Texturism. 3C and 4C, like you guys were saying, like, I don't see videos where froze are being glorified or shown as beauty. Like, yes, it's becoming common or now, but it's still not enough. I know that day too, a young lady, she had a fro, and the kids were talking about her hair look nappy. I'm just like,
yeah. And another issue with that too, I feel, is when people talk about this, especially people who are darker, we're written off as being jealous or whatever the case may be, or ungrateful, because they, even though they've, we should be grateful because they even have a black person on TV. Despite the fact that they are mixed, we should be grateful that it's still a black person. And so that's what I'm constantly seeing. Like, y'all are complaining about black women, or even the men who say, I love black women, but they won't date anybody that's darker than a brown paper bag. It's like, do you really love black women?
I've got two things for that. I think we have to create the space.
Yeah.
You can't expect the same media that's poisoning us to then turn around and correct it. They're going to hand you a caramel cutie and say, well, be happy you have representation.
Yeah,
period.
That's true.
We have to create the space. That's why I think things like My Black is Beautiful, the whole little melanin campaign that's going around and stuff like that is important, because in traditional media, and when I say that, I mean like television, sitcom, movies are doing a little bit better, but stuff like that, children aren't getting that. But being able to scroll down your timeline, seeing different shades and things like that, it is important to create that space.
And that's why I love Issa, as far as her creating like the show Insecure, and like the main, I won't say the main two characters, but the ones that we see the most is her friend Molly.
Yeah, those are
like,
the main characters.
Yeah, and like they're both of darker skin, because like she could have had a Pam and Gina situation. Like, I just like the fact that, she has the two main people, the main characters being Issa, where's her natural 4C hair, and just everything that's just showing in her show is just, I think, is beautiful.
Yep,
it's what she's trying to create. Right. What are we going to say? Because I have a question for you really quick.
Oh my God.
So I wanted to ask you, because I never thought to really ask you these things, because
I'm scared.
Because you're not so light, I never really looked at you any differently. I more so looked at like your mom and like our great aunt, you know, like and those a little differently. But do you feel as if you've been treated differently in circumstances because you are not as dark?